Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols, your host, and as always, watching and proud by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Happy Sunday, you guys. Listen, we got quite a few things to go over this evening. Of course, we're going to talk a little bit about the Buccaneers and the Miami Dolphins. We'll talk about what they're looking at as far as their offseason and free agency is concerned. The Jaguars are not really looking at the moment. They have other issues like in housekeeping. After that, we're going to go into the NBA. We'll talk about the Heat and the Magic. We'll go over what's pretty much wrong with them and why they can't seem to figure out a way to find success. We'll go down to college basketball where things are a little bit different. Our Florida Gators are one of the hottest teams in the country. We're going to talk about what's going right for them and what to expect moving forward in the SEC tournament. Of course, the Noles and Miami also wrapping up their seasons earlier this week, but only FSU will play more games. Miami finishing dead last. When we go over to MLB, and we will definitely be talking about spring training and how that's going while the Rays are playing at a different field. So we'll talk about those last couple of games and the next game coming up. In fact, same thing with the Marlins before we move on over to the NHL. And then, of course, I will send you guys on your way with some food for thought. Look forward to seeing you next week. But first things first, let's go through this show. I look forward to having this conversation with you guys. People like to hear Palm Tree Sports for more. And I will be right back to you in a matter of moments. Again, this is Palm Tree Sports. My name is Corey Pujols, your host. And as always, you brought to you by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Hello, everybody. Welcome again to Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols, your host, and as always, is brought to you powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Happy Sunday, you guys. Glad to be back to you guys with another week of sports wrapping up here in sunny South Florida. Speaking of sunny South Florida, I don't know what you guys were doing today, but today we went to, my family and I, we went to the Strawberry Festival down here, annually done in March, along with a few other things. And of course, it's the time for that season, and it was a lot of fun. My little boy ran around and got into some strawberry shortcake, of course, and then, got on a couple of rides. Same thing. Shout out to my mom and dad for showing up too, my sister and her kids, as well as her future hubby. And so, what a wonderful day it was. I encourage you guys, if you've never been, this was actually my first time going. I don't usually do like the whole festival thing. Well, I guess it depends on what it is, right? So if it was like a sports festival, no. That's something that we do pretty annually. In fact, I look forward to going to see the Bucks do some open training camp this year. So that's always fun as well. But so guys, as I mentioned before on the intro, that was just a quick, I don't know what you guys were up to Sunday, but that's what we did today. But as I was talking about earlier on the intro, obviously we're going to talk a little bit about the offseason for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and Miami Dolphins, who they're going to be looking for. Jaguars, again, they have housekeeping issues to deal with. They need to really figure out what it is direction they're going to take moving forward. And that's kind of why we're not going to focus too much on them, because where they're at, these teams they don't have those problems, right? So we're going to get into that. We're going to go into NBA and college basketball, talk about what's going wrong in the NBA, and talk about what's going right in the NCAA, and what happened to Miami as, of course, their season is over. But FSU and Florida will still play more college basketball, so I will get that information over to you. And then after that, we're going to go to the MLB and the NHL. We're going to see what's going on in spring training for the Marlins and, of course, our beloved Tampa Bay Rays. And then, of course, we're going to check in with the Bolts and the Panthers, two of the hottest teams in hockey right now. And we'll talk about the things that are separating those two teams. And it's pretty much what it's been this entire time. So we'll revisit that and we'll break that open into a can of worms. But keep it locked here, for all of those details, and we'll get it. We'll try to get done within the hour for you guys, send you guys on your way to get some rest before the work week starts. But before we could do that, we're obviously going to have to go over a few things for Palm Tree Sports Radio, and that starts with our socials. So this isn't just to Palm Tree Sports Radio. This is also IE Sports Radio related. So if you are looking to follow us on any social media, whether it is this show or the umbrella that is under, which is IE Sports Radio, that is where you're going to find us. That's going to be on X, IG, Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, etc. You can find us at IE Sports Radio. Again, that is at IE Sports Radio. The website at iesportsradio.com is going to be the umbrella as far as the web is concerned, for where you can find not just my show, but all the other shows that we have to house. In fact, in the background, I have on I'm looking at it, but it doesn't say the name over the top. But it's Fast Break. There we go. The show where we talk about the NBA with Cooks and Davidson and they're doing a wonderful job, always. And so, but if you're looking for that show, that's where you can find it. If you're looking for any other show, whether it's the Buffalo show, whether it's the South California show, whatever it is, that is where you can find it, including this very show. www.isportsradio.com/Palm Tree Sports for this one specifically. Now, if you are looking for us on the podcast, if you don't want to listen on YouTube, if you don't want to listen on Spotify, it's also on Amazon. It's on iHeartRadio. It is on Audible. It is everywhere. I listen to mine. I say this all the time. I have Apple Music and I have Apple Podcasts. So I listen to all of my podcasts here, and that's how we go over things, how we get better and study, right? The product. So many places to find the podcast, all of the podcasts, no matter what you're looking for, that's where you're going to find it, guys. For this specific show, Palm Tree Sports Radio, okay, at Palmtree_IE for Twitter, and then at Pujols Corey for my specific handle. Again, so I'm on both, obviously, and always talking all things sports all the time, especially if it's Florida related. So, jump on there, holla at me, let me know what you're thinking. And it doesn't have to be Florida related either, but obviously I specialize in Florida sports. So there's that as well, guys. So again, the website, www.iesportsradio.com, the umbrella website for all the shows, and of course at Palmtree_IE for the social handles across the board, guys. So thanks for hanging in there for that, guys. So lastly, let's go ahead and get into our sponsors. We actually have a couple messages from our sponsors today, so I'm going to go ahead and go over them briefly, and then I will get into the messages, and we will get on our way with the show and the random fact of the day as well to start us off. But first things first, guys, Planet Jerky, the premium beef jerky, that's on a whole nother planet, guys. This is our oldest sponsor, and they shout out to them for sponsors our premium all beef jerky. It's actually delicious, so check it out, guys. Seal the Deal wax seals by our very own Cecilia B. That is going to be obviously our other original sponsor, so shout out Cecilia B with the Seal the Deal wax seals. Okay, moving forward, for those of you who have not heard recently, IE Sports Radio is proudly partnered with Vital Apparel. That is a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 50% off their comfortable, inspiring gym wear and help them in their amazing journey to support mental health, guys. Obviously, that's amazing, right? I don't know about you guys. I say this every week, but I seek therapy, as we all should. And there's nothing wrong with therapy. Somebody tells you there is something wrong with therapy. Maybe they need it, but it's about stepping back and identifying that you can become a better person. And that's what therapy is for, to help you become a better person, guys. Our newest sponsor, Raw Nutrition Supplements. GetRawNutrition.com is the website. Use promo code IESR for 10% off your order there, guys. So, of course, if you are looking for supplements, if you are a gym rat, this is going to be something I highly recommend to you. I am a runner, guys. That's why I look this way. That's why I'm all shoulders and, small muscles and whatnot because I run. That's what I do. But for those of you who are into, like I said, getting into the gym, if you're using any type of supplement, go check out Raw Nutrition supplements at getrawnutrition.com. Again, use promo code IESR for 10% off, guys. And then for our supporters club, for those of you who did not know, we recently created a supporters club for this show. So if you want to come support this show, this is where you're going to be able to do it. It's going to be www.spreaker.com/podcast/Palm Tree Sports. Okay. So you have to do it in that order. And then you follow the commands over to support and you will find it. For those of you who, if you do and when you do, thank you. Beyond appreciated, but I do this from the heart, so anything that is brought forward is greatly appreciated. Thank you in advance, and thank you post. But yeah, that's the message from that's going to be concluding the message from our sponsors today. And actually, let's get into a quick video message from 3 of our sponsors, and then we'll jump into the show, guys. We'll cover a little bit, take a break, cover a little bit more, take a break, and go from there. So expect that to be the progression for today. But again, a message from our sponsors. Keep it locked here for a few moments. We'll be right back with you with Palm Tree Sports Radio.
Hi, eSports Radio fans. This show is brought to you by Planet Jerky Premium Brisket Beef Jerky. Planet Jerky is the official jerky of the 2022 California League champion Lake Elsinore Storm, Single A affiliate of the San Diego Padres. This all brisket jerky has gluten-free options, contains no MSG, no sodium nitrate, is low in sugar, and high in protein. Go to their website at planetjerky.net and follow them on Instagram at Planet Jerky. Planet Jerky, the jerky that's on a whole other planet.
Rise and shine. It's 4 a.m. The stars are still out. The sun is beneath the horizon, but it's time to punch in and go to work. The comfort of your warm-ups turns into the grinding out of your reps as the clinking and the clinking of the plates create a symphony of euphoria. There's no other feeling like it. Earn it, burn it, and take what's yours. iSports Radio has proudly partnered with Vital Apparel, a brand that not only fits great, but also promotes and donates to mental health research. Use our code IESR to get 15% off their comfortable and inspiring gym wear and help them on their amazing journey to support mental health. Go hard, take part in your iron therapy, and be strong. Because when your mental health is as strong as you are, there's no telling how far you'll go.
Hey there, iEsports Radio fans. Be sure to check out our sponsor, Seal the Deal Wax Seals by Cecilia B. You just finished your very own wedding or baby shower invitations and you're looking for that extra special touch? Maybe you just wrote a letter to a relative or a friend and you want to add to their smile when they receive it. Then seal the deal with Cecilia's handmade sealing wax stamps for your invitations, letters, and gifts. You bring the deal, we'll bring the seal. You can find them on Instagram at sealthedeal_wax stamps and on Facebook, Seal the Deal Wax Seals.
Welcome back Ladies and gentlemen, it's Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols, your host, and as always, is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. All right, guys. So listen, let's just jump right into the comments real quick because I actually am dying to see who's here, who's in the building tonight. So let's see. Hey, Dad. See, we got the old man in the building. Always a pleasure. We were just together for the Strawberry Festival and we had a great time. So, shout out Dad and Mom, you too, for coming. Had a great time with you guys and look forward to the next time we're going to hook it up. T-Raw in the building. Shout out to T-Raw. Good to see you, my friend. Larry B, the legend himself, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who makes this whole thing work, baby. All righty. Yep. All right. So guys, let's jump into this, right? So we got quite a few interesting things to talk about. Dad, you're already, you're already on it. Sharp as attack as usual. No surprise there. The fact of the day, let's start with that, right? So fact of the day. So for those of you who do not know, the University of Florida is one of the few universities to win the college basketball championship and the NCAA men's, or at the time it was BCS national championship in the same season. And as a matter of fact, they're also the only team to in the SEC, I believe it is, to win the men's and women's college baseball national championships, as well as the college basketball, college football, and outdoors championships. So that no other college in SEC has actually won all 5 of those. And so that's a very interesting concept right there. But University of Florida has, and I think that's part of the reason why when we think about the University of Florida, it's almost magical. Gainesville, Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, the whole 9 yards. It's absolutely magical, and that's just one of the things that kind of follow the university. But yeah, that is just a little known fact because I think a lot of the time some of the sports like overshadow others, so nobody really pays attention to some of those sports. But it's incredible, as a fan, to watch your team, your college, perform on that level. So incredible feat there by University of Florida Gators, and we love you, Gators. So now, as we get ready to, Larry B, before I get into it, Strawberry Festival was a lot of fun. It was super underrated. I'm not a big rides guy, so I didn't do the rides, but the food was really, really good. And also some of the vendors had some really, really cool stuff. I got a really, really cool book bag, actually. I'm a bag guy for any of those people who can relate. So I got a nice bag and also a couple of bracelets. So, some cool stuff, but it's all about the family time, right? That's what we do it for. So, but yeah, guys, so let's get into it real quickly. Before we jump into Florida sports, I just want to cover the NHRA, which is the National Hot Rod Association. The season started today with the Gator Nationals live from Gainesville, Florida, and the season started with a bang. So obviously that Hot Rod Association is something that's not as familiar, but it is exciting. I've actually watched a couple of the races on YouTube before, and it's absolutely insane. So, but in top fuel, Antron Brown went 3.673 seconds at 333.99 miles per hour at 11,000 horsepower, defeating Sean Langdon's 3.684 at 332.65 as the 4-time world champion won for the 81st time in his career. So you don't have to be a wizard to understand that math, right? That's incredible. I don't think we've ever seen anything like it, and we might not see anything like it again. I mean, now it's possible. This is one of those areas where it's definitely possible for the sport, but likely, I would not hang on to that. I would not hang my hat on that at all. So also in the funny car, all right, Chad Green went 3.921 seconds at 329.18 miles per hour at 11,000 horsepower. Guys, before I even continue, 11,000 horsepower is scary because I'm sure you guys have seen the Corvette that has like 1,041 horsepower, and the thing sounds like it spawns demonic hurricanes out of nowhere. I mean, I'm not joking, demonic hurricanes. You listen to the car turn on. I'm so serious. Guys, go on YouTube, pull up the clip, look at the Corvette. It's like a blacked out Corvette, has like 1,041 horsepower, and you just listen to it turn on, and it makes the scary guys and scary movies scared. There's a lot going on there, but 11,000 horsepower, defeating Ron Capps, earning his first career Gator Nationals win. Congratulations to him, Chad. Obviously it's always big to get your first, so you can't really, mark that down any whatsoever. But in pro stock, Dallas Glenn defeated his teammate Greg Anderson That's a legendary name. With a run of 6.149 seconds at 211.13 miles per hour. It is Glenn's 14th career win and his second at Gainesville since 2022. The guy's pretty consistent with his W's. That's what that means. And the defending back-to-back pro stock motorcycle champ, I believe that's Gage Herrera, dominated Gainesville, winning his third straight Gator Nationals victory at 6.722 seconds at 200.23 miles per hour. And he defeated his rival Matt Smith. Those guys are probably the bravest of the bunch. You couldn't pay me enough to do that. I'm terrified of motorcycles. In fact, actually, I don't believe in them. In fact, so that's what's make that even more incredible. Is just I was actually saw some of it when I was where was I yesterday? I was at the shop and hanging with the guys, and there's a big TV on in there. And normally there's pro style Yu-Gi-Oh stuff going on or Pokemon, but I believe that some of the race was on, in fact, and that was actually pretty cool. There's also Spanish music, which really threw it off, a little maraca, and then you see like a guy doing this number on his motorcycle, so it's insane. But absolutely, massive win for him. And again, defeating your rival Matt Smith. For any of you who have played Pokemon games in the past, you guys know defeating your rival is kind of the thing of the game, right? Like, got to catch them all, beat your rival. Those are like the two main things. I mean, beat the Elite Four as well for that one. But you guys know what I'm saying. You guys have played, you get it. But yeah, so super exciting stuff there. And congratulations to all the victors here. Gainesville had an absolutely electric atmosphere, and like I said, getting to see some of the highlights and actually one of the races was insane. And so big ups to all of those guys, and hopefully they return next year with a bang, and it's another phenomenal show. We're gonna dip back into the comments real quick and see what the topic of discussion is now. Yes, those guys, like I said, they're super brave, man. 11,000 horsepower is absolutely insane. And mind you, like I play football, and I think that's like less scary, right? And there are people who are like, I wouldn't play football, but they'd ride a motorcycle. So just take that in that information, do what you will. But I do think it's absolutely incredible, and I look at those guys, and I just kind of tip my hat a little bit. I think I'm more comfortable at like Monster Jam level. You know what I mean? Like, not quite 11,000 horsepower. I think I prefer just 150, 200-ish, how did that song go? Slow ride, like that, that's more my speed there. But motorsports go probably dead. Probably, I mean, it kind of speaks to itself, and that's not an easy thing to master. So it's like when you master it, and not like Johnny Cage, right? Like truly master it. It's absolutely, it's one of those things. It's like getting in your flow state, right? So like for those of you who have trained in martial arts, if you guys saw the fight last night, there was not much flow state interaction, but when you do find it, it, like you see it, you can see what that state is. And clearly he is in it, and he is absolutely a legend, like you said, in a league of his own. And it wasn't really close either. So that was the other thing that made it really interesting, was like, it's one thing when it's one very close race and, photo finish and all that good stuff. It wasn't. This guy's a wizard. He knows exactly what he's doing. So, but congratulations to them over the weekend. Absolutely incredible. Yeah, of course. Hey, I think that it's something that doesn't get enough attention, but like I said, when you see it, it's kind of electrifying. It takes true skill, and it also requires a bit of fearlessness and recklessness. Controlled recklessness is what I would like to call it, and I think that is absolutely incredible. So shout out again to them in Gainesville for hosting, because it was beautiful. This weekend was beautiful. Weather was great, especially Saturday. Oh my God. It was really, really good. So I know those guys had a whale of a day, and I look forward to seeing. I literally look forward to seeing what happens next. This year is going to be really, really fun, guys. So let's go ahead and move on to our main topics of the evening, which would be Florida sports news, guys. So first teams up, always Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I know the saying is save the best for last, but we're going to go best first, because that's how we do things in this household. That's how I do things, and that's how we're going to continue to do things. So starting with Tampa Bay, our beloved Tampa Bay Buccaneers, they have agreed to terms with Levante David, bringing him back for an unprecedented 14th season. We are talking about one of the greatest defensive players ever drafted by Tampa Bay. In fact, this man has spent his entire career here. He has been an absolute stunning stunning talent at linebacker. I cannot tell you the list of linebackers that I would rather have before him. I mean, I can here, I'm gonna give you a shot. Here's my list of linebackers that I would take before Lavonte David. Okay, you ready? Derek Brooks, obviously. Ray Lewis, obviously. Lawrence Taylor. Those are the only 3 linebackers that I can conceivably say that I would take in front of Lavonte David, only because I know that they can do what Lavonte can do and more. That being said, I don't think any other linebacker can. Sideline to sideline, the only other person that has his type of closing speed and ability to end a play before it really gets going is probably Fred Warner. Over there in San Francisco, that guy's an absolute monster. He's a wizard. He's so good. But as far as clean speed, pure tackling, reading the play, diagnosing what needs to be done at the snap, understanding his assignment and how to free up his other defenders, you guys don't understand what I'm talking about. Go look at him when he's blitzing, right? Like Lavonte David, but yeah, he blitzes. But a lot of the time what happens is he's so athletic that he's able to take the pressure off of players like Kalijah Cansey and Vita Vea. That's how they get home. You wonder how those guys get home half the time? Yeah. Lavonte David sacrificing himself in a play to basically say, look, you have to guard one of these pro ballers. Okay. And Lavonte David, he honestly should be a 14-time pro baller. Let's be honest, right? He should be a 14-time pro baller, but he's not. But I'm saying that to say this. What he does on the football field is very, very, very hard to duplicate. And it's very, very hard to find other people that can do it. So, with that being said, shout out to Lavonte David on, again, it's a cool $10 million, $9 million guaranteed. He'll get the full 10. He'll make it. That guy never misses a beat. And it's been a pleasure to watch him play football. And if he decides to hang it up after this season, I tip my hat to him. I will pour myself a drink and toast it to the sky, because that man deserves every bit of it. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's a pro baller. He's a top 5, I think, leading tackler in Tampa Bay history, and maybe one of the most slept on linebackers in NFL history. Easy. Okay. Like I said, 14 years out of Nebraska. Stunning player he is. We love you, Lavonte. Can't wait to see you this year moving forward. Still waiting on news from the CG camp as far as how that's going to go. Really hoping that the Buccaneers figure this out before free agency. I do not want to see free agency happen, because there's going to be a team that's going to offer him a palace, an ocean, and an island, and it's going to be hard for him not to take it. With that being said, hopefully he stays here in Tampa Bay. That's another guy that we hope retires in red and pewter, and so hopefully that is the case, but we're still waiting on details. Nothing yet. There are a couple of free agents, but these are areas that aren't as big a concern as linebacker. And then, of course, Chris Godwin is in his own little bubble there. But so just take that in consideration when it comes to Tampa Bay. Back over to the comments real quick, because we got some we got a little something going on here, huh? All right. Yes. All right. Big shout out. Absolutely. Big shout out. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So let me run that by everybody real quick. Big shout out to our Tampa Bay Sun FC USL women's soccer team for rallying back from 4 down. What was it? My bad. Not rallying down for 4 down, but rallying back to tie Fort Lauderdale UTD 1-1. Ladies are in 5th place currently, 4 points behind 4th place, which is Dallas. Oh, they're going to have to go see Dallas anyway. It's ironic how that happens. Good. Let's go get that W, and let's get back into the picture, shall we? And yes, Lavonte Legendary David. I wouldn't describe it any other way. I wouldn't describe him any other way, guys. So yeah, but that's pretty much it, guys. That's what's going on there for Tampa Bay. Like I said, as we get ready to move forward into the draft, you guys know what this team is looking for. It's evident, it's obvious, and we're just waiting. Oh, and for outside linebacker, if you're wondering who the Buccaneers are looking at as far as signing from free agency, because of course they're going to have to make a sign, it's probably going to be Khalil Mack. I think that's the pick here. At this point, you have such a good interior defensive line that you don't mind, a guy who maybe has lost a step. I'm not going to say a whole step, because he's still a wizard. He still can get home, but he obviously hasn't been performing the way he performed 4 or 5 years ago. So it is noticeable, but we could absolutely use his help, and I look forward to seeing what happens there. But yeah, so that wraps up everything I had for Tampa Bay, guys. Moving on to the Fins. The Fins right now are, interestingly enough, in the hunt for Joey Bosa. This is pretty obvious. We've talked about this since the offseason ended. We knew that they were going to have to do something for the edge as well. The Buccaneers and Miami are in the same aspect, the same hole in that aspect, especially on the defensive side of the ball. But the Buccaneers do have, they are known for drafting really, really well on the defensive side of the ball, as we were just talking about with Levante David, Vita Vea, Kalijah Cansey, Antoine Winfield Jr., you name them, Rondé Barber, Derek Brooks, Warren Sapp. That's what we do. We draft great defensive players. So, but the Miami Dolphins are different. They're normally known for drafting great offensive players, right? So this is going to be one of those aspects where they're really going to have to channel their inner Tampa Bay, and Tampa Bay's going to have to try and continue to do what they normally do. But the Fins were going to need some help anyway on the outside. Joey Bosa probably fits exactly what they're trying to do, and I think that they were actually hoping one of the Bosa brothers would come off, and obviously it wasn't going to be Nick, so it had to be Joey. With that being said, I look for them to try and make a splash here. There are other teams looking at Joey, but as I am told, the Fins are definitely in the mix, and they're definitely going to try to make a splash for that. And like I said, pretty much the rest of the help that they're going to need is going to be on defense. Obviously, offense, they're having some woes with some drama and whatnot, but that's just what it is. It's drama, right? And we know how drama works. You have those who, integrate with it, and you have those who leave it alone, and then you come out the other side and you try to rebuild from there. But, if that means those guys who want to get into it have to get let go, they have to get let go, and we'll have to see what happens there. But in the meantime, between time, they need to focus on defense for this upcoming draft and see if they can get their hands on Joey Bosa or somebody on the outside. Obviously, Myles Garrett, excuse me, guys, my back is hurting. It was Strawberry Festival stuff. But Myles Garrett's off the board. He resigned. He's staying for 4 years, unprecedented deal. And of course, they might as well have, right? Because we know there aren't a whole lot of teams out there that have that kind of money to be able to shell out for. Yes, he is a defensive star, but that's a lot of money. It's a lot of money, guys. We'll see what happens there. Good luck, Miami. Hopefully you guys are able to get Joey Bosa. Let's go ahead and get into the NBA real quick, and then we'll get into our first break of the evening, and then we will continue on from there, guys. So the Heat and the Magic, both these teams are struggling. As you can see, I'm like rubbing my face in that stress kind of way where people do that because like they just saw something that they wish they hadn't seen. Well, that's kind of how it feels right now to be a Heat/Magic fan. Both of these teams were looking, had a promising season ahead of them at the beginning of the season. And of course, for one team, it's been drama. The other team has been injuries. And now they're both sitting at 8 and 9 in the East on the outside looking in. And it's not really looking good for the Heat. So unfortunately, the Heat, they lost their last game against the Bulls. The score of that game was 114-109. The Heat are rocking a 29-34 record. The Bulls a slightly worse record at 26-38. Unfortunately, we knew this was going to happen. The Heat, with all the drama, there was going to be little to no way that they were going to be able to really condense it, package it, seal it, and move on and try to become better. That really requires the offseason. There's not really much time for rest. And then when you take into consideration that all the drama actually happened before All-Star Weekend, you're like playing great basketball or attempting to play great basketball at the beginning of the season with a pretty solid roster, right? And then like all this drama happens. JB departs, he goes to Golden State, and you get, Andrew Wiggins and this new look, Miami Heat team, which was a new look Miami Heat team 2 years ago and a new look Miami Heat team 5 years before that. And you say, all right, there's a lot of drama here. There's a lot of, outside noise. There's a lot of opinions being thrown around. And as a result, you get this team that is just dysfunctional, disorganized, and unable to finish regardless of how they start. And that is a recipe for disaster. And that's what's going on in Miami. They need this offseason as quick as possible. And I think it would be beneficial for them to not make the playoffs. It's weird because you think as a fan, why would you not want to make the playoffs? You always want to have a shot. Yes, but I think the extra time off and away from the game would give this team the much needed hindsight to be able to look at this year and say, okay, guys, first off, we're better than this, because that's obvious, right? Like they're better than this. They have an outstanding coach. This formula for success has been there for almost 20 years now. And it's one of those things where it doesn't have to be this way. We need to take a step back, take a deep breath, count to 10, do whatever it is you need to do to recenter, refocus, and start making the right decisions. And until we do that, we're going to continue to see more of this. That's just how that works, guys. It's not just basketball. This is any sport, okay? We saw something similar to this happen to a couple of college basketball teams, in fact, and Miami was one of them, right? So we also saw this happen in college football and in baseball as well. So, let's just get to the end of this season, regardless of what shape form that takes for the Miami Heat. Let's regauge. Let's figure this out. Let's figure out who wants the ball, who doesn't. Let's go create, and let's look to the draft and look to the future, because this year is it's water, bro. It's water under the bridge. Like, we need to move on. All right, we need to go from one side to the other, and let's call it a season. All right, and yeah, we got plenty of games to play, but I want to be optimistic here. I don't want to look at what's happening and say this is the end of this regime, or just scrub the whole team or anything like that. So let's see. Teams also pursuing Khalil Mack. Well, I mean, he used to play for the Bears, so that's I gotta tell you, that's a given. The Commanders, they love veterans, don't they? I mean, they have that one trash defensive back, Marshawn Lattimore, or what, Latta Crybaby, something like that. Latta get owned by Mike Evans. Anyway, but Bobby Wagner, he re-signed with the Commanders, so they're gonna, if they were to go after Khalil Mack and get him, that would actually kind of be a slightly scary older linebacking duo right there. It really, really would be. And obviously the Chargers we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Go to the Eagles. That would be crazy. Larry, that would be crazy, bro. That would be absolutely insane. Magic. So they beat the Bucks. That's the good news. They beat the Bucks 111-109. Shout out to the Magic for that, and hopefully this is going to be the recipe to build upon, because before that they lost 5 in a row. So the record right now sits at 30-35. The Bucks sitting at a 36-26. So they got a good quality win there, but they're going to have to build upon that if they want to find success moving forward. This is the better team, obviously, in the state of Florida. We just talked about what's going on with the Heat. The Magic, they just need to stay healthy. They need to redevelop that chemistry and that continuity, and if they can do that, they'll be able to bounce back before the end of the season, make the playoffs, and be able to make a deep push. I would really like to see them beat the Celtics. So I'm gonna be honest with you, I just don't like the Celtics anymore. I used to not hate them and was kind of fond of them when I was younger, but at this point, I don't care. I'm a Lakers guy. And so, screw the Celtics. I don't want to see them win another championship, and I really hope the Magic are the team to take them out. So Magic, we're putting a lot on your shoulders, but you can handle it. You got some stars, you got some direction, you have some great players, and some pretty good coaching staff. Let's build upon that and move forward. Next game is going to be against the Hornets. That's going to be tomorrow at 7:30. Hornets rocking a 15-48 record. This team is a team that the Magic should beat and try to continue to climb up. As I said before, the Heat and the Magic both fighting at 8 and 9. There's only a game separating them, I believe it is. Yes, it's only a game separating them. And so, and I apologize. Let me step back for a second. I gave you the wrong game. The Heat's next game is against the Hornets. I did miss that, so I'm going to take a step back. Miami Heat next game against the Hornets tomorrow, 7:30 p.m. I will be able to watch the first 30 minutes of this, and I'm going over to Monday Night Raw, and I'm clicking back and forth, okay? To be honest with you guys, I'm going to try to watch as much as I can, but I watch sports, including pro wrestling, so hey, it is what it is. But I will check out that game, and as I mentioned before, they haven't been playing very, very well, so they need to try to win this game, develop some continuity in the winning column. Now, I was talking about the Magic, but I preemptively left the Heat, so I just want to go over one other thing real quick. The Heat have lost 3 in a row, and like I said, they're 9th in the East. They're feuding back and forth with the Magic, but again, the Magic have the better team. They're currently healthy, and they don't have the level of drama that Miami has. So, again, they need this offseason, but it's going to start with them having something to write home about. And losing to a team like the Hornets just should not be on their list of things to do for tomorrow afternoon or evening. And it wouldn't be on mine. So go Heat. Magic, as I talked about before, they won their game against the Bucks. They're sitting at a 30-35 record, and they're getting ready to go see another pretty good team out there in the West, which is going to be the Rockets. That game is also going to be at 7:30. The Rockets rocking a 39. You saw what I did there? The Rockets rocking 39-25. I know I'm lame. It is what it is, guys. This is what you get. This is what you get. But, yeah, the Rockets 39-25. They're doing pretty good out West. They've rebuilt themselves up very, very nicely. They are a bit of a surprise this year, but I look forward to seeing what they're able to do and whatever they continue to produce on their way to the playoffs later this year. 7:30 be the start time for both of these games again. And like I said before, the Magic had lost 5 in a row. Y'all like my stutter? They lost 5 games in a row, and they're sitting at 8th in the East. Snapping that 5-game losing streak was complete necessity, and I'm glad that they were able to do that. And like I said, hopefully they're able to come through with another big win against a plus 500 team and develop some continuity in the winning column there. as we get ready to move closer and closer to this playoff picture. Guys, thank you for keeping it locked here at Palm Tree Sports Radio. I've been running my mouth for the last 40 minutes, and I'm impressed that you guys are still here. Shout out to you guys. Let's go into our first break of the evening. When we come back, we're going to touch on college basketball, the MLB, and the NHL before I send you guys on your way, all right? Keep it locked here again for all your Florida sports needs. My name is Corey Pujols, your host, and as always, this is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports.
What's up, Pittsburgh? This is Ralph Galise, the host of the Injury Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Are you that passionate diehard Steelers, Penguins, Pirates, or just a Pittsburgh sports fan? Then please join me on the Injury Report every Tuesday on IE Sports Radio, the direct feed for all that is sports, and I will update you on all that's black and gold. Have you telling your Pittsburgh fans and friends what's up with Pittsburgh sports. Tune in Tuesday with me, Ralph Galise, the Injury Report on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Let's go!
What's good, sports fans? It's your boy Aaron Yell, and if you are looking for sports takes that live a mile above the rest, look no further than Mile High Musings here on IE Sports Radio, your direct feed for all that is sports. Want to talk about NBA MVPs and champions? Yeah, that's us. Perhaps a baseball team that no matter how they play, you just can't quit them? Yep, we've got that too. What about Stanley Cups, NHL award winners in the burgundy and blue? Got it. How about Buffaloes that run, pass, shoot, dunk? You bet. For all things Colorado sports, look no further than right here every Sunday at 10 Eastern, 9 Central, 8 Mountain, and 7 Pacific. So if that light is red and the kids are in bed, you are listening to Mile High Musings, where we praise the Lord and cheer for them Denver Broncos. Stay good, sports fans.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Palm Tree Sports Radio. My name is Corey Pujols. I am your host. As always, it is brought to you and powered by IE Sports Radio. You know what it is, your direct feed for all that is sports. Guys, so we've reached approximately the midpoint way of the show. We're going to start to accelerate a little bit more, but I do want to talk about something for those of you who did watch it last night. I just want to touch on the UFC 313 card. It was... I hate to use the word great when there's lopsidedness and just seemingly disorganization at a very pivotal point of any type of competition. I don't care what the competition is. I'm one of those people that want to see a clean game. I'd rather see no penalties called in a football game before I see a team get favoritism, including my own team. I don't want to see BS on the field in football. I don't want to see bad calls in basketball. I don't want to see bad calls in soccer. I don't want to see a yellow card for no reason. Literally, I don't care what hockey, especially hockey. In fact, I'm gonna get mad. I say let him fight. I always say let him fight. Okay. But that's the probably the man in me, the testosterone in me, if you will. And I think that kind of, bleeds itself over into the fight last night. And, the co-main event was definitely the fight of the night. Absolutely amazing co-main event. Glad to see Justin Gaethje get his chin back. But the main event with Alex Pereira, guys, it was a robbery. I'm not going to, spend a long time on it, but it was a robbery. I thought he won rounds 1, 3, and 5. I thought that for all of the noise that people were talking about coming in, and Ankalaev is such this tremendous wrestler, he went for 11 takedowns. Alex stuffed all 11 of them. I think that that's supposed to, get scored in Alex's favor, because imagine this: if you watch a boxing match and you have a guy who throws a bunch of punches but doesn't land any of them, and the other guy throws less punches but lands, 50% of them, you would give it to the guy who actually landed punches, right? Because so is punching an air a sport now? That's literally the point that I'm making. Well, it should be the same thing in terms of wrestling, especially if you guys have watched college wrestling. It's definitely a lot different than mixed martial arts, the wrestling that's used in mixed martial arts. And so I say that to say that, if you didn't do anything, there's nothing to score. There's nothing to grant points for. And as a result, I think that they got that decision wrong. But Vegas was in on it, and you guys know how Vegas operates. So for those of you who did watch it, that was my take on it. Disappointing. We move on to 314, but they've got to do something, because this is the reason why I don't watch like I used to watch, in all honesty. I used to watch every pay-per-view, every fight card. I just don't do that anymore. I don't do that anymore. Hopefully he gets his title back in the rematch, and that's the end of that. Period. The end. Let's get back into the chat before we jump into college basketball. So congrats on Ralph C. Steelers winning DK Metcalf. What the heck? DJ Metcalf sweepstakes. He signs a 4-year deal worth $132 million extension, trading their 2025 second round pick. DK Metcalf and what's the other boy they got over there in Pittsburgh? He's a freaking menace, and I love it. Oh, I love it. Oh God, 14. What's his freaking name? You guys know who I'm talking about. Number 14. Oh my. Anyway, that's gonna be a hell of a wide receiver duo. That's where I'm going with this. I'm sorry. I'm kind of pausing because I'm trying to remember his name, and I know the face. I know the number. Jordan Pickens. Dang it. That guy, he's going to be, oh my God. Those two together, oh my gosh. Defensive backs are going to be literally fighting for their lives. Like, oh my God, these two are confrontational. They're big, they're strong, and they don't care who you are, what you've done. When you're on the other side of them, you better be as ruthless as they are. Just shout out to Ruthless Robbie Lawler, by the way, at the UFC event. He got announced to be in the UFC Hall of Fame. So for those of you who caught that too, I know that's my ADHD guy. Just work with me, guys. But no, as I'm thinking about the word ruthless, he pops up and he's getting into the Hall of Fame. They announced that last night. So congratulations to him. If you had the opportunity to watch him fight, what an amazing fighter he was. But yes, Pickens he does need to clean up his diva act. I agree 100%, T-Rod. I agree 100%. The thing about it is to a certain degree, I think that same diva act that he has going on is what gives him that edge, that ability to get inside his opponent's head and make their opponent more emotional than focused. Because let's be honest, he's not like the best receiver in the NFL. You know what he is? He's a pretty sure-handed guy that you have to double cover, because the guy who's single covering him is not guaranteed to be in the right frame of mind when dealing with him. He reminds me of Odell Beckham Jr. back in the day. The only difference was I felt like people really hated on him because he was just pure talent. It doesn't matter what you thought about with his attitude, because when you turn the tape on, the numbers speak for themselves. He was closer to T.O. George Pickens is not a T.O. He's not a T.O. He's not on that level. So, but I do think that, his physicality and his the mental games that he plays can be very helpful. And DK Metcalf being on the other side of that is just another guy that can do something similar without the diva act, in all honesty, because DK will really just do you how he sees fit. And I have a lot of respect for that because you don't take no BS. You don't take no BS. So yeah, but I think that's going to be a heck of a duo there in Pittsburgh. The question is, who's going to be throwing on the ball? That's the question, guys. A ball that doesn't need to be thrown, rather passed, would be a basketball, which is where we're headed right now because college basketball is March Madness is right around the corner. We've wrapped up the regular season. We're headed to the tournament season. And so that means our Florida Gators will be playing in the SEC tournament. They come in as a 2 seed. If they had beat Georgia, they'd be a 1 seed right now. And it kind of breaks my heart because Georgia is not on the same level as Florida. I've said this every week for the last 4 or 5 weeks now. But Florida confirmed, I feel like just has the best backcourt in college basketball right now with some just absolutely studs inside. Okay. I mean, Condon with a new career high the other night, and he just played amazing basketball against Alabama. I'm so glad of the way that the way this team has performed. And if you guys have been under a rock and you guys don't care about college basketball, allow me to allude what I am taught or get to what I'm talking about. Allude is kind of a bit of a word there, but the Florida Gators were able to beat Alabama 99-94. In the final game of the regular season for them, this was one of those games that people were saying it could be an Alabama steal game. Are the Gators going to be focused on Alabama? Will they make a misstep? No misstep here. Just great basketball. High level, high scoring basketball between the then ranked 5 Florida Gators and the ranked 7 Alabama Crimson Tide. The Florida Gators have since moved up to a ranked 2. Like I said, moving into the SEC tournament, only right behind Auburn. They do control the head-to-head against Auburn. Unfortunately, Auburn controls the better conference record with a 13-3, I believe it is. Was it or my bad, 15-3 conference record to the Gators' 14-4 conference record, and that's just a heartbreaker because again, this team has played outstanding basketball. They do have wins over unanimous ranked ones, both Tennessee and Auburn. And, so whenever you have a team that's playing basketball like that, that's a dangerous team. And that happens to be our very beautiful, very beloved blue and orange Florida Gators. So moving forward, the Florida Gators, well, actually, before I say, what we have for the next game coming up, they did also beat Ole Miss earlier this week. The score of that game was 90-71. Again, this team just scoring 90 points at will. Tremendous on offense, especially when we're in rhythm. When we're shooting above 45% from the field, we're pretty much right where we should be. If we're around 50%, we're unstoppable. Same thing with the arc. And, when our bigs are getting into it, there's not much we can't do. I mean, that's just how this Florida Gators team is created. And, again, that backcourt, Clayton is a monster. The guy is, he's like a little Hulk on the basketball court. It's just like out of nowhere. It looks like he just becomes bigger. You guys watch Space Jam, and you guys remember when they turned all the regular basketball players into the Monstars? That's what Clayton looks like when he gets going. And you can tell he's feeling it because he'll get inside, he'll hit the paint, he'll hit an off balance, he'll get behind the arc, hezzy jab step back 3 ball, and he sinks it like he's year 22 LeBron or something. It's absolutely incredible to see what this guy's doing. And to close out that win against Alabama on senior day, good work, boys. Again, Alex Condon, great ball player, new career high for him. Outstanding ball he was playing there against the Crimson Tide as well. Next game is to be determined for the Gators. Still waiting on, I think it's the game this evening, in fact, that actually we're waiting on before we know who the Gators are going to be playing. But that's going to be determined. The team is to be determined, but the time is going to be Friday, March 14th at 7 p.m. So we do have a time confirmed. 7 p.m. is pretty good. It's pretty generous. I'm going to try to catch that game. I should be able to catch probably at least that 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock part because then I'll be rolling into SmackDown and then I'll be double clicking back and forth. But I will follow the game. You guys got my word on that. I definitely want to see how it goes. Obviously, whoever it is that we're going to play, go Gators. Excuse me. That's the tippy top. Nothing else more important. Go Gators. You guys can do it. We believe in you. And for the end of the year records, to who the stats both for themselves, in fact, 27-4 be the record for the Florida Gators, which is the same record that Auburn had, but again, they had the better conference record. Alabama wraps it up at 24-7. They're at a 4 with Tennessee pushing the 5, even though Tennessee has one game ahead of them. Again, Alabama had the better conference record. And then the team that they're going to be playing, like I said, to be determined, is probably going to be a one of those teams that sneak in the back door. So go Gators. Friday, March 14th, 7 p.m. start time for that game. Noles will also be playing basketball. A little bit further. They're going to play an ACC tournament. Their first game is going to be against Syracuse. But before we get to that, we're going to talk about their last couple of games. They did lose to Virginia 60-57. Virginia rocking a 15-16 record while the Noles were sitting at a 17-14 record. So that's a bit of a downer, but they were able to beat SMU 76-69. SMU is rocking a 22-9 record, so a much better record than the Noles did. So this is an upset. Congratulations on the win, guys, and just try to build upon that right now. The ACC tournament is looking to start Tuesday, March 11th at 7 p.m. against Syracuse. Syracuse rocking a 13-18 record, so the Noles should be able to win this game, but the Noles have struggled with teams that are at or around their rank and have really only beat teams that are much further away from their rank as far as record is concerned. But this team is no Miami team. This team can play ball. They just need to stay focused and finish, because that's one thing FSU has not been able to do all year long, unfortunately. They've maybe been able to close out 3 of their games with leads. Without on-court drama. And when I say on-court drama, I mean like time, possession, all that good stuff, where like every timeout is valuable. Every, play call has to be the perfect play call, or you go down 5 points, right? So with FSU, that's been the case. And so, good luck against Syracuse. You guys need to win that game to move forward. The Canes, all right, that's a different team. That team will not be playing basketball anymore, okay? As a matter of fact, the team shouldn't play basketball anymore. The team shouldn't do anything anymore. The team should not be a team. They finished dead last. If you were wondering why I'm forsaking them so much, that's the reason for that. So the Canes finished with a 7-24 record. Like I said, dead last. They lost both of their last 2 games of the season to 12-19 NC State. 72-70 was the score of that game. They gave themselves a fighting chance, but they're the Canes. They're going to screw themselves up. And then, of course, Georgia Tech, they lost that game. Georgia Tech rocking a 16-15 record, 1 game above 500. Of course, they had no chance in that game. 89-74 be the score of that ball game. That competition ends their season as they look to the offseason and some sunny hills and horizons, because they, like I said, will not be playing basketball moving forward. And let's pray for them. God, please help the Miami Hurricanes. Amen. They need it. They need it. I mean, if we're going to pray while we're at it, Lord, let the Gators win the national championship, please, Lord, please. Amen. But Miami needs it. They need it. They lost their identity almost 2 years ago, and it's been nowhere to be found since. No time at this point, the old man says, to be lackadaisical. I believe the Gators should be favored to win the tournament and be a 1 seed. Ladies and gentlemen, that is my father, and I agree with him 100%. That man told no lies, and I 100%, 110% back that exact sentiment. Like I said, if the Gators had beat Georgia earlier this season, or just had beaten Tennessee back-to-back, in fact, their conference record and their regular record would be the best in the SEC and be beyond worthy of a unanimous rank 1 ranking. But I think the Gators play their best any sport at all as an underdog. I kid you not. I don't care what championship you're talking about. When the Gators are an underdog or they're backed into the corner is when they play their best insert sport here. And I think that this is a great example of that. So I actually feel bad for the rest of the league knowing that we're not a rank 1 and knowing how we play when teams look down on us. You guys ever seen Florida's national championship victories? If you haven't, I want to let you know that the first championship that the Florida Gators ever won was against Florida State, and it was after Florida State had destroyed the University of Florida 2 weeks earlier, in fact. So rivalry week is always the last week, and the Florida State Seminoles destroyed the Florida Gators. The Florida Gators need to win the SEC championship and get help in order to make the national championship game, and they did just that. They won the national championship. Danny Warfel was phenomenal. Steve Spurrier could not be stopped in his play calling offensively. The defense locked in. Went to go see Florida State, and you guys remember what happened. What was the score? Like was it like 52 to 20 or something like that? It's called vindication. It's called vengeance. It's called an ass whooping. Okay. Florida Gators first national championship. Second one comes by way of Ohio State. Third one goes by way of University of Oklahoma. The one against Ohio State is definitely the most special one. Yes, obviously the Florida State one was a necessity. It was a beatdown that needed to be handed to them. But the championship against the Ohio State University, as you can tell, we don't like the University of Ohio State. I don't like the Buckeyes. I still don't know what a Buckeye is. I know what it is, but I just don't understand why it's a thing. Like, you guys are so lame for that. Like a buck. Like, wow, the eyeball of a deer. Wow, like you couldn't come up with a Yoda or something cool, bro. A gator. How about that one, huh? No, copyrighted. Yeah, screw that college. Bro. I hate that college, bro. Jesus. Anyway, but yeah, third one, Oklahoma State. In all three of those games, we were not favored to win. How? I don't know, but we weren't favored. That's all I can tell you, and we won. So shout out Gators. Love those guys. Has Auburn run out of gas? I think they have, because they started the season hot. They got hotter. And I think they supernovaed. I think that's what happened with Auburn. I'll be 100% honest with you. I think that's what happened with Auburn. They supernovaed. They burned through all their nuclear fusion, and they started to swell up, and they got too big, and gravity won and pushed down, collapsed the core of the star, and boom, supernova. Now you got a black hole. We know what black holes do, right? For those of you who were in Astronomy 101 classes, black holes eat everything, but they also slow down time. And that's why that's a great question. I do think that Auburn is burning out a little bit. I think that they've played high-level basketball for a very long time, but the gauntlet that is the SEC itself in nature, it would wither any team. And I think the only reason why the Florida Gators are still performing well is because, one, they took their hits on the chin when you look at their losses throughout the season. But I think that they also strategically took those hits on the chin, and I think that it works out slightly better for them in their favor, knowing that is the case. This team does have the ability to go into the deep water, and I think they will do that. Rays baseball, guys, still in spring training, so not a whole lot to get into, but we'll still talk about the game that took place earlier today. They did lose to the Blue Jays 13-9. High scoring game, but again, this is spring training, so you kind of expect that from time to time. The next game they're going to play is going to be against the Braves tomorrow at 1:05 p.m. So get ready for that game if you guys want to see some Rays spring training. Spring training has been up and down for the Rays. It's been literally a roller coaster. Win, lose, lose, win, win. It is what it is, guys, but it's spring training. Nothing to hang your hat on at the moment. We will see the adjustment this team has made. I still disagree with the fact that they didn't do much in the offseason in free agency or try to move any pieces. But they did, obviously put together a pretty good bullpen, and I think that this is going to be something that we're going to have to wait to see how it translates. This team is going to feel as comfortable as, they will when the regular season starts, because like I said, right now, without the stadium, spring training is just that. It's just spring training. I wouldn't put a whole lot into it, and I will wait till the season starts before I start handing out judgments on what I think is going on or what needs to happen here with this Rays team. But of course, at some point in time, we're sure that they will move some players or make some moves on players. So when they do, I will be reporting that to you guys. But until then, like I said, next game is going to be against the Braves tomorrow at 1:05 p.m. Also, more spring training. Spring training will continue through to March 28th before the regular season starts. And I think our first game is against the Rockies. So Marlins baseball, as we go further south, like knocking on the door to the equator, what Miami, the Marlins, they beat the Astros 10-6, another high scoring game, but again, spring training, this is what you expect. So shout out to Miami for getting that dub there. Congratulations, Marlins. You guys have great colors. Didn't have a great season last year, but you got great colors, and that's a pretty cool fish. And so let's see what you guys can do. It's a cool fish, guys. I mean, come on now. I'm just so mad that we went away from the Devil Rays because we had the Marlins and the Devil Rays, and now it's just like less aquatic. Even though we have a Tampa Bay aquarium that's absolutely phenomenal, I actually want to go back to it. I went a couple of weeks back and it was great, and so I look forward to going again. But just kind of a thought there with the Miami Marlins and Tampa Bay used to be Devil Rays. I kind of miss having the aquarium, right? Like that was kind of cool. But any case, like I said, they won their game against the Astros 10-6 spring training game. Next game is going to be against the Nationals. That game starts 5 minutes after the Rays games tomorrow at 1:10 p.m. So go check out both those games for Florida baseball, guys. And like I said, Tampa Bay's game starts 5 minutes earlier than the Marlins game, so they will be back and forth. I know one is going to be on Sun Sports, so I'm going to try to catch that while I'm out in the field at work. And we will see what happens. If I'm not able to catch it, I'll just follow it on ESPN and go from there, because if you guys do the same thing, I get my notifications. Like, I got the bell on, so you know how that goes, guys. Wondering how much the stadium issue is affecting what Rays are doing this year. Still hope Tampa Bay is in the mix. Good point, Dad. It's interesting, right? Because you work in St. Pete. My dad works in St. Pete, and that's where the stadium is at. But we all live in Tampa. Well, he lives in Tampa. I live in Brandon, which is right. It's basically Tampa 1.5. If any of you guys live in large cities, you guys know what I mean. It's just like literally, it's still Tampa, basically. Like people still call it Tampa. It's Brandon, though. But the reason why I'm saying that is I do hope that Tampa Bay's in the mix. The issue is we ain't got no space. You know that, Dad. You get up every morning just like I do, and you go to work, and you be out there stuck in that LA level traffic just like I do. And one thing we know is we ain't got no space. We ain't got no space to make space. You guys know a city like that where there's like no space to make more space? Yeah, that's where we're at. We don't. You have to start knocking houses down and moving sidewalks back at this point. So, but yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't know. They can't take away. They can't go to Amalie. That's all I can tell you. They can't go to Amalie because the Bolts playing hockey there. If you ain't know, we play hockey in the South. You know, I think it's funny. I was talking about this with my friends at the shop that people are always so shocked when they watch NHL hockey and they're just like, all the best teams are in the South, but it's like a Canadian sport. Tell me more. Tell me more. Not about the Canadian side of things. Talk to me about the South. Talk to me about those Tampa Bay Bolts and those Florida Panthers. Guys, if Tampa Bay or Florida Panthers make the Stanley Cup Finals, you guys do realize that the Stanley Cup Finals will have been represented 6 years in a row by a team that plays hockey in Florida, which is the southernmost part of the United States. That's a wonderful fact, guys. We play hockey in the South. I grew up playing street hockey. In fact, in case you guys were wondering what street hockey was, well, I'm a 30-year-old. So for us, street hockey was no rollerblades. It was we set up 2 mini soccer goals, like the ones that they put on like the kiddie fields. We go to the basketball court, knock down the freaking or if there isn't one, but we knock down the tennis because. Well, back then, here in the South at least, we have the basketball court. There's an adjacent basketball court with like a removable tennis net, right? So we remove the tennis net and put the goals on both sides. And normal rules, just like hockey, it's street. You better have pads, like elbow, knee pads, of course. Have your own stick, and we used golf balls because we weren't rich. We didn't have no pucks. We didn't get nothing like that. Nothing was signed. Mine was handed down. Mine was handed down to me. But that's how we play hockey. And like I said, if it's one thing to play hockey on the ice because that's the way it's supposed to be, played. But you learned a thing or two playing some street hockey, and it was a lot of fun. Let me also say it was a lot of fun. Obviously, I played everything. I enjoyed being goalie, and but I also enjoyed being a scorer, being an offensive tool, and has some skills on defense. So hockey is super duper fun, and it's super fun to play down here. And don't think that because we're in the South that we don't play it, because we do. Excuse me, I apologize, guys. I apologize for that. But on to the Bolts. They suffered their second loss in 4 games and their first bad loss in about a month. They lost to the Bruins 4-0. Bruins are another rival of the Bolts, so this is one of those teams that you kind of expect them to do that. It wasn't a surprise at all. We knew it was coming at some point, and yeah, Bruins, whatever. Like at this point, it's like the Bucks losing to the Saints. Like it sucks and it stings, but at least it wasn't Atlanta or Carolina. Because like losing to those teams feels like we did something wrong. Like they didn't win, we lost. You know what I mean? Like when like losing to New Orleans always felt like a dirty job, but losing to like Carolina and Atlanta feels like being unemployed. Yeah. So, but yeah, it's the same thing with the Bolts. Bolts rocking a 37-22-4 record. That's good enough for third in the Atlantic. As you know, the Atlantic is a very competitive division. The Florida Panthers just overtook the Maple Leafs for first. And so with 3-team race, It's not going to be a photo finish, but it could be a photo finish, and we'll have to see how these next couple of games start to shape up, and if the Bolts can get back on their high horse and try to overtake the Maple Leafs. They're sitting in second place. Next game for the Bolts is going to be against the Hurricanes. Hurricanes rocking a 38-22-4 record, very similar record, one game ahead of the Rays as far as that head-to-head is concerned, but they play in the West, so we don't have anything to worry about there. That's going to be Tuesday, March 11th at 7:30 p.m. So get ready for that one. Again, like I said, Tuesday, March 11th at 7:30 p.m. I should actually be able to catch that game. I don't really have much going on Tuesday evening. So yeah. That's going to be a good game. 2-2 over the last 4, which is good enough for third in the Atlantic. Like I mentioned earlier, they are like, what is it? 9, 10. So they're 10-2. Oh, they're 10-2-1, I think it is. Is it 10-2-1 or 10-2 over the last 12 or 13 games? So they're playing extraordinary hockey right now, but unfortunately there is a team that's playing better hockey that is slightly south of us, and that team would happen to be the Florida Panthers, guys. This Florida Panthers team is as dangerous as they have been. I think that the Stanley Cup still goes through Florida. I think that either one of these teams are good enough to defeat any other team in the nation right now, and I think that we will be hosting another Stanley Cup, and I like it that way. I mean, I love, looking at a sport that is demographic to a specific area and seeing a team shine that shouldn't be shining. That's always a fun thing. We love the underdogs. You ask my dad will tell you he loves an underdog, and this is an example of that. And Panthers rocking a 40-21-3 record. They beat the Sabres 4-0. Before that, they beat the Blue Jackets 3-0. And you might ask yourself, why am I telling you the score of the game that came before that? I'm going to tell you right now. The reason is because in the last 4 games, this team has outscored the opponent 12-1. 12, 1-2 to 1. The one goal was scored by the Tampa Bay Lightning Bolts. Nah, the Stanley Cup goes through Florida, okay? I don't care about records. Don't care about what's going on out west. Yeah, they have talented teams. We don't care. Stanley Cup goes through Florida. See you guys in a month and a half, okay? I say a month and a half comfortably. It's more like 2 months, but that's neither here nor there. Before we know who's going to be who and what, where, timing, and all of that beautiful stuff. So, yep. Next game is Tuesday. You're right, but the Panthers they've won 6 in a row. They're first in the Atlantic. Team's hot. Scary team to play right now. Obviously, the Bolts just made a big splash for a couple of tier 1 players over there from the Kraken, which were instrumental in being able to defeat the Panthers, which I think is the reason why that move was made. I think the Bolts right now look at the Panthers and they say, if you're any other team, we're not concerned. And as a result, we're looking to see how that's gonna shape up moving forward. And but we don't know how it's gonna shape up moving forward until the postseason arrives. Next game is for the Panthers is going to be against the Bruins. That's going to be Tuesday, March 11th at 7 p.m. as Dad was talking about. So look forward to seeing that game. Hopefully the Panthers can get some vindication for the Tampa Bay Bolts who suffered their last loss to the Bruins in a 4-0 fashion, guys. Back to the comments we go real quick. Sometimes I deliver stews, Stenberg's packages. So my dad is a letter carrier. Shout out to my dad for any of those other personnel who perform letter carrier duties. We send our love to you. We really appreciate what you guys do. And, you guys are valued and appreciated. But yeah, shout out to Dad. He gets to meet some pretty cool people down here. You wouldn't believe the kind of people that live out here in St. Pete, Tampa Bay area. Just absolute legends of life, both living here and from here. Excuse me. And ironically speaking, as a matter of fact, I was talking about pro wrestling a little bit earlier. May 24th, John Cena is going to be in the Tampa Bay area, which is actually pretty normal for him. If you actually ever sit down and watch some of his interviews, he actually just loves to get in his car and drive for hours. And Tampa Bay is a place that he has frequented in the past. The last time he was here on business, as he will be promoting for wrestling, and it's his last time. This is his last hoorah. He's got 10 months left before he retires. So that's going to be super exciting. I can't wait. Hopefully we're going to be able to go check that out. And then, that's actually really, really cool. Angela Bassett is from the Berg. I did not know that, Dad. I did not know that. Shout out Angela Bassett. Obviously we love Angela. Angela is, if you don't know who Angela Bassett is and you remember the easiest way I can describe Angela Bassett to somebody is if you've seen the Black Panther, his mother, that's Angela Bassett, and you've seen her in plenty of other movies. I personally guarantee it. She was in the Police TV show a couple years ago. She was in American Horror Story, and her season was phenomenal. So for those of you who don't know who that is, but yeah, she is from St. Petersburg. That is absolutely amazing. I had no idea that was the case. And of course, Dolce putting Tampa Bay on the map. If you guys saw her performance over there, getting her hands on a trophy a couple weeks ago. So congratulations to her as well. But and lastly, Tyrion, you did make a good point. I want to double back to the Bolts do have a good grip on the third spot in the Atlantic Division. And right now the Atlantic Division is like this is like the NFC East in like the early 1990s. And I have to use that terminology simply because if you guys remember, for 4 straight years, the Buffalo Bills lost Super Bowls. The 3 teams that they lost to, if you guys, pay attention, I'm pretty sure you noticed they were all NFC East teams. That's correct. The Bills literally lost to the Washington Redskins at the time, the New York Giants, and then twice to the Dallas Cowboys. That's the East. So that's what this division kind of reminds me of, watching these teams duke it out. Like I said, the Maple Leafs absolutely in the hunt at number 2. They were at number 1 for a while before the Panthers reclaimed that throne. And it looks like they're going to carry it moving forward because this team looks scary. They look unbeatable. And like I said, over the last 4 games, 12-1, they're outscoring their opponent. That's absolutely unheard of. So that is insane. Yeah, Dad has always definitely got the facts, man, and that's the only way you really learn it all. But guys, that's pretty much gonna get us to the end of the show, guys. I really appreciate having you guys here this evening. Thank you guys so much for joining me on this hour plus show that we had. I look forward to seeing you guys next week, same time, same place, every Sunday evening at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for this show. And like I said, guys, go check the website out. Go check out the other shows. Go show them some love. Really appreciate you guys and everything that you do. Thank you to everybody in the comments. Everybody listening on YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, etc. Guys, like I said, I look forward to seeing you guys same time, same place next week. Have yourselves a wonderful week. Stay prayed up. Be careful. Stay hydrated. Watch the road. And most importantly, spend time with your family, okay? Don't take it for granted. Love you too, Dad. Love you guys. Until next time, Corey Pujols signing off. Country Sports Radio, IE Sports Radio. Your direct feed for all that is sports. See you next week.